Hi, thanks for your film. I was just wondering, beyond this sort of historicization or meta-historicization of queer cinema, was there something else that you were trying to do in terms of sort of quoting these historical moments in queer cinema, so using the same actors as Go Fish or Watermelon Woman, and also, I don't know, I saw an obvious parallel between this sort of creepy pool death and the L Word's creepy pool death.
Well, I never saw the L Word, which is very odd, but I didn't know that. But yeah, there were people on the project from the L Word. The big one for me, and I was telling this story at the beginning, was reading Patricia Highsmith. And I did a big read on her and her relationship with Vin Packer, Mary Jane Meeker, her lover. There's a biography about that she wrote about Highsmith. And they had a rough relationship, and Highsmith is a rough person. But she did this wonderful thing about making you love this, pathological, you get inside the head of the killer and love the killer. As well as, I don't know if that makes us like Highsmith more, but once you sort of look at the layers that she worked with, which is a lot of shame and hate and things really ate her up. So looking at that life, looking at that relationship and how that can fuel creativity, I said, I want to be a fly on the wall in the relationship to see how they were going back and forth and, pushing and provoking each other. So there were two creative women in that relationship when they were together, and it fueled a lot. So that really was the jumping point also. So it goes around the block with stuff. I don't know. Sarah, you want to say something?
VS, can you answer this one? How does it feel to revisit queer cinema all these years later and be in another movie? Do you want to answer? No? You're feeling shy? Okay.
Is there some? Let me ask you... I can shout.
No.
Thanks. Let me ask you, can you tell us a bit more about the band that we were experiencing here in the background?
Okay. The band. Oh, the Screech. The Screech was made up a band that we created based on the Riot Girls and the girls' bands of the 80s. And inclusively the video that you see at the opening sequence is a real video by a band from San Francisco called Tribe 8.
All right. Any more questions? Raise your hands.
Can I ask them a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so from where we sit, you're the audience that has had the most men and the most people who perhaps appear straight, and it's really exciting to have you watching our movie and staying for the Q&A, and to allow what appears to me to see lesbian cinema not sort of cordoned off in a room only for lesbians, but to talk more broadly to a film audience. And I would love to hear the comments from someone who's, an a-traditional viewer of this movie. I know that maybe is a little scary to put that out to you, but it would be really feeding for us.
Who identifies like that, right?
Maybe this one. You are straight?
We said to all of how do you self-identify? And they said all those funny things.
For me, it's interesting, but I'm honest, it's another kind of movie making or kind of storytelling that me myself would prefer, but for me it's interesting to see how different stories can be told. So this does not depend for me on the sexual theme, it's just a kind of storytelling that is interesting for me, so I can't say more about this.
Well, for me, thank you very much for your comment. And the last thing I'll say, that for me it's also breaking, really sort of trying to reinvent film form again, and really trying to push storytelling, and that was a big one for me. I mean, the last film that I made was a $15 million Hollywood, comedy with African-American hip-hop comedy, which very traditional 3-act structure, ha-ha-ha jokes, And it ruined me as a filmmaker to, put my name to something that that's just a pack, it's canned soup. It's actually ramen noodles, soup it's instant. And I really wanted to sort of go back to what I believe in, which is really trying to push the boundaries of storytelling. And I think that's quite important for anybody who's a filmmaker out there to really, it's not just, it comes from the heart, and it comes from the content of the film, and it comes from, your vision, but I think we need to push storytelling. You know, I think we need to really sort of be, you know, inventors again. And I thank you for that, because that's something that I really like. So, yeah.
For example, from my side, I see about 800 to 1,000 films per year. I was totally happy and thankful when I saw your film, because it interrupts that flow with something I find, of course, Brechtian, coming from Germany. But I was really happy, and I wanted to ask you about it. How did you get the idea to have, like, actually a traditional story flowing and then interrupting with analysis and reflection on the role in the film, but also on real life?
Augusta we started sort of traditionally, I think.
We did basically we did the narrative first, you know, made it work. And then, you always wanted to do this. He always wanted to do this breaking the, you know, going into the documentary and all that. But we also lost during the shoot. Did you tell me? We only shot for 7 days, so we ended up losing. She had to cut out a lot of scenes, maybe 30%. So that's why we have the talking heads also coming in, the characters, to build the characters more, and that's how that came about. And then we had to find a way to make the documentary work within the movie, and I think we accomplished that.
Yeah. And for me, I've been working in this style. I actually come from an art background. I got my MFA at Rutgers in New Brunswick many moons ago. And for me, I started playing with the talking head, the direct address, the vignettes. You know, I just kept really doing it. And that's why I'm saying to kind of go back to, you know, this invention of storytelling. And that's really where that came from, is actually, you know, I sort of got lost, you know, living in LA, you sort of can get lost in the glamour of that world of storytelling, and you think it's the way to do it. And your pitching becomes, okay, I'll compromise. And you can't compromise at this moment, you can't. So it was really important to really go back to, you know, what I believe is, you know, cinema, not you know, I'm a cinema artist, you know, and a filmmaker by heart. I'm not just a writer-director.
Well, thank you very much for not compromising, I must say.
Okay.
Thank you very much for bringing this film to Berlin.
Okay, thanks for having us. And happy birthday, and happy birthday.